Went online to become a private detective. It was a private detective school online, and I paid online. I never heard from them again. I thought to myself, I either got ripped off, or this is my first case. This is a journalistic podcast, Shannon. We vaccinate our listeners with answers. And I'm going to keep lip-syncing the important questions until TikTok gives me a show. Shannon, how can the moon landing be real if the moon itself is fake?
That's not true, Mike.
Oh, isn't it true, Shannon? You're fake. You're a hologram.
1 in 5 New Yorkers are food insecure. What's your solution for that, Mike?
Fortune cookie. Because that's food and advice at the same time. Shannon, at least have the decency to backstab me, okay? You stab me in the front every time. Some fans can't watch the podcast because they're triggered by our sexuality. And message to those fans, we will leak a sex tape right into your mouth.
This is Mike Vecchione Investigates.
And you're not better than me. Welcome to another episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates, guys. It's your boy, Mike Vecchione, along with Shannon in the booth. And we have a special guest today. I'm going to get right into it. I usually do a preamble, but I'm not going to talk about the fact that the guys who are doing the construction on the front of our building keep dropping pieces of the building into my air conditioners. I'm not going to talk about that right now. We have a lot to get to. The fact that both of my air conditioners are probably being broken right now as we're doing this show in live time because the men who are doing the face of the building keep dropping pieces of concrete into my air conditioner. And if you're at home and you're an air conditioning repair guy, you probably want to mute the rest of my rant of what I have to say because you are going to cringe. It's going to turn your world upside down. Or if you appreciate cold air at all in any way, and you're hot this summer, you're probably not going to want to hear what I have to say about this because these air conditioners are beautiful. They're our saviors. They're Christ-like figures during the summertime, giving us coolness, cooling us down, making us feel good and at peace. And for workers to come and to reface the building, which is what they have to do every 5 years because of government regulation, Dave Smith, do something about it, Dave. Dave is anti-big government, and I think big government forces these buildings to get their concrete on the outside, the face of them, checked every 5 years because of regulation. And then these companies come in and do it, and everybody's on the take. You know how it goes. This is not Dave's podcast. This is my podcast. But I just don't want them dropping pieces of the building into the air conditioner. I'm not a very handy guy. A lot of you guys know that. I can't fix anything. But I do know that pieces of concrete falling into a working air conditioner is not good for it. That is not going to enhance the productivity or the lifespan of that air conditioner. So air conditioners are meant to work freely, and they work better when pieces of concrete from a building are not being dropped into them. So just message to the construction workers, if you are watching this on your lunch break, which you take at 8 in the morning, it feels like they're pounding on metal at 7:30 in the morning just to wake us up. And then after 5 minutes of that and we're up, it feels like they take a break for the rest of the day. So I'm not sure if that's like a model in Europe that they're using, that they're trying to bring over here, or it's just a personal vendetta about somebody who has this company and is trying to get revenge on everybody who lives in the building, or me specifically. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with it, but I do know at the very least, number one, it's loud. I understand that. And number two, we shouldn't be dropping pieces of concrete into air conditioners. It's an easy fix. You could just throw a tarp over it or a piece of plastic over the air conditioner while you're doing the work and then remove the piece of plastic afterwards. But on one air conditioner, they've taped something over it, which is protecting it, but then it's hindering the air conditioner when they're not working. So the fix is very simple. Throw a tarp over it when you are working, take it off when you're not working. Seems to be too difficult for this company to follow. That's enough. Doug Uram is my guest. Welcome, Doug.
Hey, man.
And Doug, you
What's
look
going
like
on?
a heating and cooling guy. That's why I
Yeah.
have you on, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Good.
your look, I met you one time briefly on Real Ass Podcast. It was very brief, and I was like, this guy's an interesting guy, because we were talking outside a little bit.
Right.
And then we came over, and the art took over.
Right.
And we didn't get to talk that much. But I was like, I made a note in my head, in the smallest part of my brain. I said, got to have Doug on. And then it left my brain because of, just the busyness of
Right.
life, not that you're not memorable. And then I thought of you again, and I was like having this heating and air conditioning problem, and you look like a quintessential worker who would come
Right.
in and go, you can't be having concrete in your air conditioning.
Yeah.
And you look like that guy.
Yeah.
Is that something you would say?
That's exactly what I would say. But the thing is that you can't cover the air conditioner because then it won't work. It's got to
Right.
suck in air and
Yeah.
get air in. So if you covered it, it makes the fucking thing useless.
Yeah.
So you can't have that.
You can't have it.
But you
it's
did
just cover
fucking
it when
say
you're
that.
working and the concrete is
Yeah.
falling, and then uncover it. Like, I'm not a handy guy. I didn't go to air conditioning repair school like some of you arrogant people out there did, and they're probably watching, looking down on us. But I didn't. But I know that much. I know they just cover it and then uncover it.
Yeah.
It's like just due diligence, and it's like a thing where it's like, did you just start this company yesterday? It's like there's air conditionings everywhere, yet you have to do that. Like, it's not like I'm the only one with an air conditioner.
Right.
And I'm the only one that you have to do this for. It should be common practice. Hey, we should probably cover the air
Yeah.
conditioners before we do this.
But they can't do that if people are at home using them. You can't start covering, and then the houses are going to get hot. The air conditioner is going to suck all that hot air in,
Right.
and then it's going to break because then it's useless. It's got to vent air in and it's got to push air out. You cover them. What are you going to do? You're going to break the compressor.
You're
you
going
can't
to
have
break
that.
the compressor.
Yeah.
And that's the heart of the air conditioner.
That's the heart of the. Without it, you might as well just have a block of steel that doesn't do anything.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you
Nobody
need it.
wants that.
So they're probably like, like you said, taking that break, that whole taking their lunch break at 8:00 was absolutely amazing. All those union guys,
Yeah.
same exact type of people.
Right.
Just that 15-minute break in the morning, 15-minute break after. Then you got your hour lunch break at
Right.
12. You really only work 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they still complain
Right.
that they break their ass. So anytime I ever heard like a union, which I'm not saying is not hard work.
Yeah.
But
you're not anti-union.
yeah, no,
You're not a union
no,
buster.
exactly. No,
Doesn't
I'm
say
not
that here,
at all.
Doug.
I don't need a rat outside my house or a
Yeah.
cockroach to
Yeah.
be anti-union. But what I am saying is that you're not working that hard.
Right.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. You know, you're not
Calm
really.
down a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. You're taking a very long break.
Right.
You know, you're leaning on a shovel for the most part.
Yeah.
You're just leaning up against the wall with
Right.
your 19 cups of coffee and
Right.
your honey bun and stuff like that. You're not working hard. I'm
Well, these
tired of
guys
those union
who are
guys.
working on the front of the building, we have two different kinds of ethnics. The people working on the front of the building are Mexican or South American,
Yeah.
and the people working on the inside, the heating and cooling system on the inside, because they're putting a heating cooling system inside the building, which is good, because maybe that's the way they're timing it.
Yeah.
They're putting a heating and air conditioning system inside the building. Meanwhile, the outside workers who are refacing the building are dropping concrete into our current air conditioners. And then when they break them, which is inevitable, then hopefully the heating and air conditioning system on the inside, done by the Ukrainian and Croatian guys,
Right.
will be finished.
Right.
So do you think it's a time? Do you think they're probably talking to each other?
Yeah.
Different ethnic groups with some kind of a translator, obviously.
Well, of course, you need the middleman there. It's
need
hard
the
for a
middleman.
Croatian and a Mexican to talk to each other.
Yes.
They don't understand what
They-
the hell they're
right.
saying. All from Brighton Beach, probably, if that's where I guess Ukrainians are.
yeah.
A ton of them over there.
Yeah.
And Russian, Ukraine. It doesn't matter to us because
Right.
they look and sound exactly the same.
Intimidating looking whites.
Yeah,
I
oh,
would say the
different type
scariest
of
of the
white people.
whites.
Definitely
the scariest of
different,
the
yeah.
whites. I mean, Italians used to be that, and we've gone downhill.
Oh, we
since
have,
We're
yeah.
like business guys now and walking
Yeah,
around
now we
in
wear
suits.
suits. Like,
Wear suits. Like we're not maybe in Long Island,
yeah.
which is the homeland.
Well,
for
Staten Island's the other one.
Staten Island
Yeah.
is the homeland for our kind of blue collar workers.
Yeah.
But these Ukrainians come in, and the Russians and Croatians and Belarusians.
Yeah.
I don't know.
that
They
little
come in and they're
place.
doing stuff. But the outside workers are Spanish speaking, and it's like they don't speak English. And I knock on the window and I go, "Cover it, cover it." They don't, and they're like, "No, I don't.
I
They don't know.
I don't know.
They don't know English." Do you think that they actually don't know English, or do you think that they're faking that they don't know English? It's always an interesting question. Do you
Right.
think it's harder to learn another language or pretend that you don't know English?
I think it's definitely harder to learn another language, but it's so much easier to pretend. Start talking to them about money,
Right.
and all of a sudden, bang, that English comes in so fast. You're
Yeah.
like, whoa, what happened here?
Right.
Now all of a sudden you understand dollars and cents and
Yeah.
what I'm handing you,
Right,
and
right,
now, wow,
Yeah.
now your English is spot. Not even an
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
Not even an accent.
Right.
They know it perfectly.
They
at
know
that
when
point.
it comes to money.
Yeah, next time just hang a $10 bill out the window,
Right.
and watch that English just kick right in, and then it's like, I don't know what that. Then $10. Oh, you want the air conditioner covered?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We'll get right on that. Let me get a few other guys.
Perfect
Yeah,
English.
perfect.
Better than my
Spot
mother.
on. Better.
It's really crazy how money. I should try that. That's a good
You should,
strategy
man.
that I just learned
Yeah.
from this podcast from you. Doug.
Yeah.
Now, are you a handy guy? Are you like?
I know a little bit about like a lot
lot.
of things, but
Right.
I'm not like 100% like my dad beat that into me to learn how to do a little thing, because he always used to say, if you don't know how to do any of this shit, you're gonna make some wife a good husband.
Yeah.
Sarcastically, always
Right.
busting my balls about something.
Right.
And anytime you did something new with him, you were immediately being screamed at. I was like, I never cut the fucking grass before. What are you yelling at?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never fixed a J drain or a J
Yeah.
pipe in a sink. Why are you screaming at me?
I
don't
mean,
know
my
what's
dad
going on.
loved me. He really loved me, and I felt that he loved me and everything.
What's that
but,
like?
But I'm telling you what it's
Yeah.
like, Doug. I'm telling you that
Yeah.
it's great to have the love from your father. But my father wasn't handy, and he didn't not only not show me, then he would scream
Yeah.
because it's not being done.
Right.
But it's like, how was I supposed to? Am I supposed to get this through osmosis from
Exactly.
the universe?
Yeah.
You know?
How
And-
do you understand all that bullshit? Like when you're a kid, who's gonna teach you that?
Right.
Nobody teaches you how to
No.
do that. Somebody has to, and then if somebody's yelling in your face while
Right.
you're doing it, you're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do this no
Yeah.
more. This is
Yeah.
horrible.
Right.
I don't even want to go fishing with you anymore because I
Right.
get screamed at that whole time too. It's like,
Being
what am I
that's a
doing?
great point, Doug, because fishing is supposed to be relaxing
Yeah.
for men. You know what I mean? It's like we're supposed to sit there and like just wait for the fish and like talk about our lives and
Right.
have some brewskis if you drink.
Mhm.
And the fact that you're getting screamed at because you don't know the right bait, you don't know,
Right.
like, you're not
You don't know
up
how
on
to
anything.
cast the pole out there. Like
Yeah.
fishing, like you said, fishing is supposed to be relaxing. You're not
Relaxing.
supposed to have that same gut wrenching feeling like when you're on a roller coaster,
Yeah.
where you're like nervous before it happened. That's not how you're supposed to.
Right. That's
I
not
lost
what
my
fishing
phone
is.
when I was fishing with my father, and I didn't tell him
Wow.
because I knew it was just gonna ruin the day, and I was gonna be screwed. I didn't tell him until after we got home.
Right.
And then once I did tell him, shit, you're so stupid. I'm fucking 8.
Yeah.
All right, I had a little
Yeah.
shitty Nokia prepaid minute phone.
Right.
Or however old. I was probably older than I don't fucking know.
Right.
But I lost, and I got screamed at for losing the phone. I'm like, and this is exactly why I didn't tell you I lost the phone when we were fishing, because you would have yelled at me for that.
Do you think that wouldn't it have been great if another fisherman would have got your phone and you didn't catch anything, and you go home and your dad's screaming at you and he starts texting you? It's like, I'm with my father loves me, and we caught a lot of fish. And then he
He
just
takes
starts
a
sending you
picture
pictures,
with his dad
and it's like
with
it's
his
like,
arm around him.
yeah,
So proud of my
it just
son.
makes you
Yeah.
feel like a loser.
Oh, it's still
and he's using your own phone.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm 33 years old, right?
Yeah.
And when I see fathers getting, which, it's rare to see in New York City, like fathers getting along with their sons,
I know.
there's a little thing right here
Right.
that I'm like, oh, that must be fucking nice to have your dad support you with shit. That's good. That's very good.
Your teeth are
Good
great
for you, yeah.
because it didn't happen for you, and all of that
No.
is built up inside.
Oh, dude, it's still in there. No matter
But-
what I do, it's still there.
But you know what? There's another side to it also. I like it when a father is showing a son how to do something. I don't see it in New York either.
Right.
I think where there's a different parenting style going on in New York, which is just put them on the subway and let the A train
Yeah.
raise your child.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't agree with that. But then I see some parents who they are too accommodating. And I
Sure.
don't like that either.
No.
I don't like the fact that it's like, every little thing, and then the kid's like a little king. No, yeah, me,
Right,
me,
exactly.
bleh. It's like I don't like that. That infuriates me. Also, it's like no. Let him. I like it when a parent talks to kids like, nah, you gotta. We talks to the kid like, you gotta come, you gotta do this.
Right.
You know what I mean, like that, and the kid's like, and he's like, no, you got. And they're supportive. They're
Yeah.
not screaming at the kid, but they're like, you got it. You
Yeah.
can do it. You know, that little bit of tough love, but also it's like, and then the kid, that's like the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah.
But
which
with these
is- yeah.
parents, with these kids who are big, they should be walking around and dragging them around on a wagon.
Yeah.
Seen that?
Dude,
where it's like-
9-year-olds in a carriage is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, and it always happens here.
Yeah.
If a kid is over 3.5 feet tall, you get that bastard out of the goddamn carriage.
Yeah.
That looks absolutely. If his fucking toes are dragging across the ground,
Yeah.
you get that bastard out of the carriage.
Yeah, you get them out.
There's a weight limit to those things for a reason.
And you got to get them walking.
Yeah.
Walking around.
Gotta build the muscles in the legs. There.
Yeah, and
You
the
can't let 'em
posture
go
and
mush.
all this
Yeah.
stuff. But it's
That's
also
why the kids have like that posture of a question mark.
Yeah.
Nowadays they're like this.
Yeah.
Because they're all on their phones. They don't do shit. They're not active. You don't see that.
The amount of people, and I have compassion for this new generation that's coming up because I'm the older generation aging out. I know it doesn't seem that way because I
No.
look young.
Beautiful head of hair. you
Beautiful
lucky
head of
bastard,
hair. Lucky. And but bald guys are also
Yeah.
emerging.
Yeah, well, you know.
And it's a choice probably to shave your head.
No, it's my only choice, Mike.
It's your only choice.
That's it. I have
Okay.
no other options. If I grew it out, I would look about like 47 years old. I can't grow it out.
But now you look like a Vin Diesel type. Is
Right.
the kind
Thank
of roles
Christ
that you're
that
up
shit
for?
exists, and like mixed martial arts too, because they made that bald head popular along with Vin Diesel.
A lot of people say bald people are better thinkers. That's why their hair
I don't know
doesn't.
if that's true.
Their hair falls out because there's so much activity going on. True or false?
Yeah, no, I would say depends what day you ask me. Sometimes it's false. Like this stuff I do that I can't believe I was that stupid to do it.
Yeah.
Like I changed the oil in my fucking motorcycle this weekend.
Yeah.
And I changed the oil, and I didn't remove the oil pan from underneath the bike, and I moved the bike out, and I run over the oil pan and spilled 4 quarts of oil all over the garage. And I just went into a fight, probably from my dad being a prick. When I was young.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you this stupid? How the fuck did you let that happen? And you didn't think to move the oil pan out of the way. Now you have to spend 4 hours cleaning this shit up. And I just went into a shame spiral from there. Like, you are a moron. This
Yeah.
is why you don't make it in comedy.
Right.
This is why you can't hold a relationship. This is all your fault because you're so dumb that you didn't think to move the goddamn oil pan. So that
I get it. I get exactly what you're
that's where it
speaking
comes
to. A
from.
lot of our listeners
Yeah.
right now, all of our insecurities, the
Yeah.
low-income whites who watch the show
That's
and love
right.
it. And but it's like it's that thing that gets in your father. Compassion to your father also. Like could you imagine? It gets better every generation. So could you imagine what he went through?
Oh, he
like
got
the
hit with
way
a
he
barber
was
strap,
talked to.
man.
Yeah, he was probably
Yeah.
beaten and stuff.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
know my father the same way. It's like he went through beatings and stuff. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like he had that thing. But I know he loved me, but he couldn't. It's almost like he couldn't help it because he was programmed.
Yeah.
And it's the way that you were programmed. And it's interesting because we're comics
Mm-hmm.
and we put this way of thinking under a microscope. So it's the fact that you're able to step out of yourself and be like, oh, this is a mind pattern
for sure,
that's
yeah.
happening here. It's like one thing spirals into another thing. It's like you spilled the oil. You're never going to make it. You're a failure at everything. It's like
Exactly,
it just
yeah.
ends up going down.
Yeah. You start thinking of every other shortcoming you ever had,
Yeah.
all because you fucking you had an accident and you spilled
Right.
oil on
Right.
a garage, and that could lead to all this other horse shit
Right.
that you did wrong when you
Yeah.
were 7. You start bringing
It's
that
all
up.
a psyche, though. It's all
It
in
is.
your mind, right?
It
Isn't that
is.
weird how we all, one thing that you do, which is an accident, triggers all of these other insecurities?
Right. Yeah, it is a weird thing, but again, it's like at the same time, like you have that way of growing up where you know you were treated a certain way by your
Right.
father, any male figure, anything. But at the same time, it's like you can't completely hate that way of how you were brought up because it also taught you character. In a
Right.
strange, like
Yeah.
this is life is going to be a pain in the ass a lot of the times,
Yeah.
you know, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you could do about it. So yeah, my dad may have screamed at me and he may have beat the piss out, whatever. But at the same point, it's like, but this is what life is.
Yeah.
Life is grueling and it's hard. It's going to teach you how to deal with these situations that happen. And maybe you get better at not going into a shame spiral because you spilled a glass of water on the ground.
Right, but if you have that mentality, the mentality that you have, it's like, oh, I'm going to help. I don't have to. I'm going to have this make me tougher, and I'm not going to repeat this cycle.
Right.
But I'm going to use this to make me mentally tougher and overcome it. Sometimes that, if you're like a super sensitive person, a father like that can break you down.
Yeah.
And to the point where it's like, oh, none of this is worth it at all. I'm just going to use drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it can have that effect also,
it
where it's
sure
like,
can,
where
yeah.
it's like, none of this is worth it. I don't want this kind of anxiety
Mm.
and pressure. I need to find a route to escape it.
Right.
So I've seen it work the other way, that and just completely break
Mm.
someone. You know. Now, fortunately, did your father show you love, though? Did he say, I love you? Did he show you love? Because it's interesting to go, I want to go fishing with you, which is a father-son activity, but him then go, but I'm going to scream at you the entire time. So just be ready for that.
It was weird because every now and then he would, but him himself still had always a problem showing affection, especially to my sister, completely different. Easier to be softer with a woman than, be softer with a guy. Because he still had that blue-collar mentality. He worked on trains his whole fucking life, all right? So, and he grew up in Manhattan when it was all Italians in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
So they were all tough guys. And what element was in that fucking neighborhood. You showed an ounce of weakness, they preyed on it like vultures because that's just how they were.
Right.
So he tried to instill that on me, which in a sense did work. But at the same time, you still have that, like you said, like that shame spiral bullshit.
Yeah, that's unnecessary, I think. All that, I would argue that all that being shamed and you can't do it, that's counterproductive from a mentally tough, even if you're being mentally tough, your goal is to make your son mentally tough. All of that stuff works against you, and it's not productive in any way to go, you suck, this is terrible. It's like, no. I like the guys who are that's why I'm a big Tom Brady guy, or F1 pilots and Navy SEAL guys, because it's they can be in the midst of chaos and calmly work through progressions in order to get out of it. Right. It's almost a meditative thing where it's okay, I'm in a terrible situation. You've immediately accepted it, and now you're working to get out of it. Like a shame spiral and you're stupid and all of that stuff, besides being vicious towards the person emotionally, works against you. It works against you in terms of mentally trying to make your situation better. Right.
Well, exactly. It's like you said, you go into those shame spirals, and guys who are Navy SEALs, those guys are they're made out of iron.
They're made out of iron, but I'm a huge, and I know Shannon is too, like a David Goggins guy. Do you know that guy?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that guy is built from the ground up, figured. I love him because he does this thing where he figured out how his mind works. It's not so much the physical and all that stuff is impressive, but that's not a symptom, but it's an extension of his mind, which is he had to figure out how his mind worked and how when he talks about the conversation that he has with himself while he's suffering, which is an interesting thing. It's when you're suffering, when we're all suffering, we all tend to want to get out of it. That's just human nature. It's how can I get out of this? I want to make this stop. But he had the presence of mind to be through various obstacles and suffering to be oh, let me look at how my mind is responding to this. Instead of just trying to find a way out, he's watching his mind, just like you were saying with the spilling the oil. It's I'm stupid, I'm dumb. But you had to have a presence there to go. You had to have a presence of mind to be oh, this is a pattern of thinking. In order to notice it's a pattern of thinking, you had to step outside yourself.
Oh, you do, yeah. And the way you step outside of that is you say to yourself, well, now this is a story that I could have that I was a complete asshole in this situation. And then you share it with other people and oh, yeah, I did that too and stuff like that. So it becomes this. Yeah, we're all morons at times. Not everybody's going to be sharp every day at every second. Right. So it does create that. Now I have
it creates a bond with somebody else, and there's a story to tell. We're talking about it on this podcast. That's proof. For those of you who need proof out there and are really doubting Thomases, which is a Bible story where Jesus shows back up after the crucifixion, and doubting Thomas goes, "You're not God." Yeah. I think we're all that guy a lot. Of course. That guy's not a villain, but he's everybody looks down on him in the Bible and goes, "Oh, that guy didn't believe Jesus." It's half the people don't believe the moon landing is real now. You know what I mean?
They think it was done in a fucking studio.
Done in a studio. It's why is the flag blowing? Yeah. And but doubting Thomas was let me see your hands and feet. Yeah. Let
me see if you got the nail marks. Turn around. Let me see your back.
He's got to check
his whips.
But and everybody blames him. It's you didn't. You needed to. The whole parable was you needed to see and inspect it, and how about the people who don't need to do that and just go on faith? It's a question. It was a story about faith.
But that's the thing. It's how could you not question what the fuck is in front of you? Yeah. You saw this guy get his ass kicked for 4 hours straight. Right. He was nailed to a cross wherever he went after, and then he comes back. You're gonna be huh? That's a little weird.
Yeah, would you think what I'm thinking, which is stunt double?
Yeah, exactly.
Stunt double.
Saddam Hussein had him. You know,
Yeah.
he had the double guy
Yes.
in case one got shot and be like,
Right.
no, we didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't Jesus have the same thing?
Why wouldn't Jesus have? Jesus is more important than Saddam
Oh, he was a
Hussein.
huge figure. Of
He's
course
a
you're gonna
huge
need a
figure,
double.
even at
Yeah.
the time. So, wouldn't that be the ultimate thing if Jesus had his stunt double crucified and then he just lived on an island somewhere, lived out his days?
That would be
that would
great.
kind of be against his whole message.
Right. But then again, back to people who were so stupid that you could have easily have fooled somebody at that point. Like, I'm Jesus now, even though that one died. People would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not checking Instagram. They're
Right.
not going to a grave site. There was no grave site.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, that could easily have happened. Think about it. Like even Roman empires, the emperors had doubles in case one was assassinated. So you mean to tell me back then Jesus or any other important figure didn't have a double in
Stunt
case something
double is
happened?
a great thing. When I blow up and I become
That's fame right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a stunt double in case people are trying to. When you are a Roman Empire, it's like you have to worry about being poisoned constantly. That would be half my day. It's like, is this poison? Is this not
You need
poison?
a taster.
I would need a taster.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody who looks like me to
Yeah.
taste it, and then that would be his total job
Yeah.
until he got poisoned, and then he will be like, well, that guy did his job.
Right, exactly. Once he got poisoned, then they're like, wait a minute. He didn't
Yeah.
delete his dates off of Instagram when he's going to be in Tempe, Arizona and shit. Something's not fucking right here. I don't know what it is.
Oh my God.
This smoke break is brought to you by YoDelta.com, the official Getting High sponsor of the Gas Digital Network.
So before, this is very interesting. So that relationship with your father, is your father still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay.
Diabetic, and he still
Yeah.
eats cake, but, he's on every day. I think, like, all right.
That seems like he would have his own Instagram page for diabetics who eat cake.
Yeah, that's what
And then it's just
exactly.
all of him eating. He's like eating cake in
Yeah.
every photo.
Showed
He's
his
like,
missing
"What's up, man?"
toes and shit.
Yeah.
I always think, like, because he's so bad, like, with health and stuff like that, every holiday that goes by, I'm like, all right, this might be the last one.
Yeah.
Every holiday, I'm like, all right, I better enjoy this.
Right.
'Cause, he might not be here. But he's always a miserable fuck on holidays. 'cause
Has
it
his
makes
temper
things-
gotten better or worse?
Oh, well, it got better because he got
Humbled?
yeah, he got younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he got older.
Yeah.
So, he's an old man, shit fucking hurt. But when he was younger, I watched him punch a fucking dude in the face or threaten him with a baseball bat because the guy's dog kept pissing on the lawn.
Yeah.
And it was a female that was unspaded, so it would leave, dark spots in the grass. And blue collar guys, they
Yeah.
care so much about their lawn and they
Yeah.
pump so much money into it.
Right.
He went outside with a bat and goes to hit the fucking guy. My mom stops him at the last minute, and the guy never got hit. But I'm watching this from my window, going like, "Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Oh God!" So that
Wow.
was the kind of guy. And then he also beat the shit out of a guy in front of my house on New Year's Eve because which this one was completely justified. All right, this one, the guy dragged his girlfriend out of the car and beat the shit out of her.
Right.
My dad hears the commotion, comes downstairs, goes after the guy, cracks him in the fucking face. The cops come, and the cops knew who my dad was. And they're just like, Dougie, calm down. What the fuck? He goes, he was hitting his girlfriend, all this other bullshit. So that was the type of he was a mean fuck, but he was also like vigilant.
Justice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a strange way.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah.
Did the dog ever go to the bathroom on his lawn again?
You know what? I think that guy completely avoided that entire block
Yeah.
for the rest of the time we lived at that place.
It's interesting. It's like maybe that guy gets a bigger dog, and then it's
Dude, it
like
was
two
huge.
against one.
It was a fucking greyhound.
Oh wow!
The goddamn thing
But
was
greyhounds
massive.
are like good
Docile,
runners or
right.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to get like a pit bull or something.
Oh,
that
if
way
it was a
you're-
rot, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will your dad have a different strategy then? You'd have to have a.
I'm sure he would have.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because he was a psychopath. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe not. I'd be like, fuck you in this fucking Raleigh.
Yeah.
Hit the dog. and
Yeah. Mad dog on mad dog.
shit. Exactly. He was a fucking nut.
And how about your mom? Together? Are they together?
Yeah, they're still together.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. Which is a rare thing
It is
nowadays to
strange.
hear kids still having their parents together
Yeah.
and shit like that. So, and it's sometimes you got to take that into consideration when you're dating. Like,
Do you think the divorce rate? Do you think marriage is going to be an institution that's just going to be obsolete in the future, or do you think the divorce rate is still going to keep going up? Because it's at, I guess, 50% now.
Yeah.
So it just kind of devalues if marriage is at if it's the divorce rate is at 50%, and I understand that, I'm not judging it, I get it, but if with the way society has changed and everything, so if the divorce rate is at 50%, do you feel like that's devalued marriage, where it's like, oh, this is forever? It's like, is it? Because half the time it's not.
Right.
And then Chris Rock had that great joke where, I think it was Chris Rock had the great joke where it's like half of the people get divorced, and then half of the people who stay together just are grinding it out.
Yeah.
And are not happy anyway.
Right.
So it's like 1/4 basically are happy,
Just hanging in
actively
there.
happy,
Yeah.
actively appreciating each other and still in it.
Right.
Because the other half of the people who are married are just miserable and have accepted the fate that they're gonna stay. They're not gonna get divorced, but they're not at all happy.
Right. Well, let me ask you: have you ever seen a truly married, like happily married couple? Do you know anybody that's happily married at all? I'm sitting here trying to think. I can't, like, my friend. And to answer your question, I
Yeah.
think marriage is always going to happen,
Yeah.
especially here. You know, it's a huge business. So of course, people, as much as whatever where we're going, and everybody stays single, we don't need each other and shit like that. Marriage is a huge business, and when there's money to be made, it's gonna get pushed.
That's an interesting
on
angle.
people.
That's really an interesting angle.
Yeah,
that marriage as a business needs to continue.
Yeah, it's gigantic, man. I mean, 25 grand just to have a decent wedding,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this area. God knows how much, like with inflation, how much marriage. So as long as there's money to be made and a profit, it's always going to be pushed. Like, here's the dress, here's the centerpieces,
Yeah.
here's whatever the fuck
And
else
what-
goes into a wedding.
What does that speak? I think it plays to, I mean, as I look at men, it's like if you're a young man who wants to have a family,
Mm-hmm.
yes, but I think it mostly plays to women.
Sure.
It plays to
That's
women.
who it
Here's your
plays
dress,
to, yeah.
here's your day.
It's her day.
It's her day.
Like, you're just a fucking prop and all
yeah,
this bullshit.
but you're a princess and it's your day and you're
Right.
special. It's like we're doing this job, which is it's a career stand-up
Mm.
comedy, and we're the center of attention every night. So this is kind of like, even for like men and women in this business, I feel like it's worn us. We're not looking at it the same way
No.
as a civilian. You know what I mean? It's like we're on stage every night and getting these accolades or whatever, however you want to say it, but we're in the spotlight every single night. For somebody who's not, who just has a regular job, and as a woman goes, it's my day.
Right.
I'm a princess on this day. And everybody kind of falls into that.
Mhm.
Everybody in the wedding kind of acknowledges that that's what it is.
Look how beautiful the bride is.
Right.
She's glowing.
Right.
And the guy's sitting there like, he might be happy too, but nobody gives a fuck about how he's looking
Yeah.
when she's walking down
Right.
the aisle. You know what I mean?
Right. So is it, I guess, so your theory as marriage as a business needing to make money, does it play on the fact, because, you know, there's feminism out there and I understand it, you know what I mean? But it's like they really play on the fact that, like, you're a princess on this day. And who
Right.
doesn't want that as a woman,
Of
regardless of, you know, whatever? It's like what your views are, if you're a feminist or if you're traditional. It's like, it's hard to say no to that.
Of course
And to
it
be
is,
like, oh
yeah.
my God, I'm going to love this. Because it's adulation and everybody's focused on you and you're most beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everybody, it's like this loving enclave, you know. Why wouldn't you want that?
Right. Exactly. And that's how, like you said, it's a marketing thing,
Right.
man. It's all your attention is on, the attention's on you.
Right.
And let's be very, very honest here.
Are we going to be very honest?
We're going to be very honest. Who loves the spotlight and center of attention more than females that
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Okay. You could name any female. They love the attention. They love, you see it on Instagram. They get it. You
Yeah.
see it when they're out and about. They'll love and soak in the attention. Now take it as this is her day. You're
Right.
not out at a bar.
Yeah.
You're not out with your friends.
Right.
This is your specific day.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to want to bask in that and soak it up and all
Right.
that bullshit. Because, again, it's like you said, it's marketed towards women. You don't see many wedding shit marketed towards men.
Right.
You don't see that.
Right.
It's all your dress, your veil,
Yeah.
the car, the limos, all the stuff,
Right.
centerpieces.
Right.
Men don't give a fuck
Money. You're
about
looking at
center-
it from a
money.
business
That's all it
perspective.
is, man. If there's money to be made, a business won't die
But
and
they're
it'll always be
praying.
pushed.
I just wonder about the idea of a woman being like, you know, we're in a very skeptical society
Right.
today, like as far as religion and everything. It's like, that's fake, that's a lie, that's a marketing scheme, that's this, that's that. But it's like this idea of a woman being a princess for, her day on her day has seemed that's stuck.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like no one kind of like, I guess people are questioning it, but it's just the questioning doesn't overcome the fact that it's like, oh no, this is my. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like
right.
we're in a an age of women empowerment and logic and thinking and all that stuff. But there's this fairy tale aspect to a woman getting married that not only everybody traditionalists buy into, obviously, but even skeptical people and empowered like women who don't believe in any of this traditional stuff, they buy into
Of
it.
course
Like
they do,
everybody
yeah.
buys into it. It just
Yeah.
seems like all your skepticism and all the traditional versus feminist, like all that kind of goes out the window when it comes to this.
Of course it does. You
I,
hit the
I-
nail
you know what I
on the
mean?
head,
So
Mike.
I kind of don't like
Yeah.
understand like
Yeah,
how it's
but-
not even questioned at all. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Right.
I'm not putting a value judgment on. I'm just saying it's interesting
Yeah.
how how this is not being questioned at
Right.
all.
But it's like you hit the nail on the head, like perfectly.
And that's for our
Take-
blue collar fans.
Yeah, blue collar fans.
Hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head.
Hit the nail on, especially in a concrete wall. Exactly.
Yes.
Like you hit the I forgot who's bit the, but everyone's a feminist. Every female's a feminist until it's time to go to war, until it's time to do something like go fix a wall,
Right.
go whatever it is. In the face of trouble, a woman is always going to look to a man to come bail her out of this trouble. That whole feminist thing is like, the way I see it, a lot of it is bullshit, and a lot of it is parroted narratives to where, oh, this is how I'm supposed to feel, especially here where we are.
Right.
This is
New
how I'm
York.
supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Okay. But you take feminism and then a wedding, like I'm independent, I don't need a man. But I would like a day to where everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
I would like a day to where, again, it's just all about me
Right.
and my day. And I would love to be treated like a queen and a princess, even though I said I don't. And then what's the main equation to make you look like a bride is a groom. Because what are you going to do? Go down the aisle by yourself and say, I'm
Right.
getting married to
Well, this
Jesus?
man, it's also kind of a. I mean, there's different ways you could look at it, but if you're looking at it from a superficial way, it's like this man wants to be with me forever. Like this
Yeah.
man wants to be with me forever, and for me to, men want to be with me. Like
Right.
this man wants to be with me forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Which
it's
is
like
how it
that's
should be, but
part
then
of it.
It doesn't. How
it
does
doesn't
it
play
ever
out
play
that
out?
way.
Yeah, my
And I
friends
should
are
say
still
to the
married.
fans that feminism, there's, it's like any other, it's like any other thing with a label. It's like
Right.
there's a view of it in one way where it's like a superficial view, and then there's a view in another way where feminism is like building from the inside out, like women empowering themselves. You know, and it's like there's a different viewpoint of
Right.
them, I think.
But I feel
But
like
what
there's
you're
no
saying,
give and
like,
take.
what's
You know
that?
what I mean? There's no give and take. It's like a lot of the times it's like why can't you feel empowered,
Right.
be this powerful person,
Right.
but at the same time want to spend your life with a man? Why is that so looked
I
down
think that that's.
upon?
I don't think it is.
understand.
I don't think it is looked down upon. I think that that's. It's like you can not just. We're talking about feminism right now, but you could do it with anything. It's like religion.
Right.
Like you have these evangelical types, and I'm not downing evangelicals. Like it's fine. It's whatever you want. But I'm saying the types that are like outwardly trying to convert you all the time, and like I'm going to church and my church group,
Right,
and their
right.
identity is that. Whereas like somebody like my mother, who's just quietly spiritual,
Right.
and I'm not saying you can't be outwardly excited about your faith, but I'm saying like my mother, she'll make no secret of the fact that she's going to church or she's going to do this or she's going to do that. It's like she's not making a secret out of it, but there's like an inner tranquility and peace within herself. Like she's not, you know what I mean? She's not less religious than somebody who's being boisterous about it. I just think with like feminism or religion, it's like if you make that your entire identity, like I wonder how authentic it is,
That's true. Yeah.
you know, with
Anybody-
any of these things.
Well, it's like there's always a phoniness whenever you're trying to make something your identity. Always.
Right.
You could sit there and preach all this bullshit, and I don't mean to beat up on feminists, but it's just
Right.
what's shoved down our throat is, again, especially here in New York City, is the feminist agenda shoved down our throat. And here's the thing, okay? It's shoved down our throat, but these women are still dying to have a powerful woman wants a powerful man, no
Right.
matter what.
I
they
would
say.
agree with that.
Yeah, they need that. And I've dated women that claim to be these hardcore feminists. And then when I date them, it's like, oh, fuck you. You're not going to tell me what to do. No, not everything you say is valid because you're a human and you're stupid like the rest of us. So, yeah, what you're saying is dumb and it sounds retarded. And I'm going to say that. And I don't mean to sound too high, up on my horse because I do the same thing.
Right.
I'm just as much of an asshole and a hypocrite as anybody else.
Right.
You know
We're people.
I mean?
We're people. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have this identity that you're a feminist and all this bullshit, but there's always going to be a breaking point. When a girl hits 35, okay, it's like, oh shit, I wasted my time with this feminist bullshit. And now these powerful men want younger women. They're not going after a 35-year-old that runs a company. They're going after the 25-year-old woman who could still bear children and who was still fruitful. Right. And then they realize, fuck, I made a mistake. There's YouTube channels dedicated to the women that say that they feel bad for giving in to feminism and that they should have had a family.
Well, when you're saying feminism, I think it's just the idea of feminism.
Right,
where
right.
It's
the
like,
idea.
It's
exactly.
it's like this thing that's parroted, where I think that authentic feminism actually works because it's that powerful thing that we were talking about from the inside out, where it's like you actually can empower yourself from the inside out.
And you can.
And be the best that you could be as a woman. I think that's actual feminism.
Yeah, that is.
Versus something, what you're talking about is the outward...
Brooklyn female type bullshit, the multicolored hair, that stuff. And the same thing, like I said, I'm gonna fucking talk about same thing with men too. Just to round it up and bring the point home. Those fucking asshole guys that have to tell everybody that they're alpha males. Right. It's like, if you're an alpha, we'll figure that out on our own. You don't have to tell us you're an alpha.
Yeah.
Shut.
Yeah.
True. Whatever,
are those guys alpha males?
Exactly. If you
they're
have to
living
tell people that,
they're living a superficial identity.
Yeah.
So they're not actually alpha.
Exactly. If you were secure with what you were, you wouldn't have to tell everybody, I'm an alpha male. It's like, if you are, we'll put that together. Just shut the fuck up. Right. We understand. Yeah. Whatever. Right. Fucking live your life. You're not going to tell us every attribute you have. Right. That's like when you meet somebody and they're like, I'm the funny one, or I'm the smart one. It's like, well, if you are, we'll put those pieces together ourselves. We don't need you to tell us that. We got it.
Yeah. It is kind of the same, a flip side of the same coin with these alpha males trying to like tell you how badass they are.
Of course.
And how strong they are and how you need to respect that. It's like you're screaming this stuff. It's like you could just have a quiet disposition about you and just embody all of these qualities and be the same.
Yeah, enjoy your testosterone. Shut the fuck up.
Enjoy your testosterone.
Enjoy it. Embrace
Enjoy your testosterone. Shannon, do we have a sponsor? Would it be great if we had a testosterone sponsor for that segment and an estrogen sponsor for the other segment that we had? There you go. See, Doug is always thinking in terms of business.
Here. That's right.
But weddings are a big business, and it caters to the fact that women want to be princesses. Correct. And I thought that I found that to be a little bit. I found it to be strange that it's never questioned. Maybe it is questioned, and maybe I'm just not on those YouTube channels. Shannon, I'm dying to hear what you think of this. The fact that the wedding, like females, like the whole thing about want their day to be like, it's focused on me, I'm a princess, with all this skepticism and questioning all of these traditions and everything, and all of this is fake, and that's not good, and that's this, and that's just a caricature of something. It's like, why is it still like, why is like being a princess and having the day all about you still an accepted thing?
I think it varies so much. I personally, I know a lot of women who have gotten married, and the women of the couple were like, I don't even care where we do this. Let's just get married, whatever. And the guys want a big production.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's happened. Really? Yeah, I've seen that happen often. But I don't know. I understand everybody's point of view here. But I also feel like, I mean, this is the biggest get together in this country that people are going to have. So people are, of course, going to try to make money off of it. Yeah. I mean, but they do that with everything now. I mean, like now there's gender reveal parties. Right. And it's like anywhere, any way that you can like capitalize off some sort of gathering, that's going to happen. Right. I just think with the whole like feminism thing tying into it, it's like, I feel like that's an issue when women are fighting for like women's empowerment, which I feel like is different than feminism. Feminism.
That's true. That's, yes. I don't know if we really are. We were trying to articulate it. I don't know if we actually articulate it because we're stupid men.
Right.
We're stupid men, so we don't actually articulate it. female empowerment versus the label of, I think female empowerment is part of feminism.
Yeah, so feminism is just like the advocacy for women's rights, so that
Yes.
women and men have the same rights. Which I
Yes.
feel like everybody
who's
can agree
who's
upon
not who's not for that?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
We're all for that.
Right. And then
Yes.
it goes like further where there are things like where a woman is like offended if a guy tries to pay for a meal or tries
There
to
you
hold
go.
the door for her, whatever. And I feel like that's like, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
a little extra. And
That's not feminism.
No.
That's something else
or
that's
that,
happening.
maybe like a radical feminism or something where they're really taking it to a crazy different
Yeah.
degree.
Right. No, yeah, that's a good, because I've been out to dinner with girls that claim to be feminists, but I'll be honest, they say they're but when I offer to pay for that meal,
Right.
they're all in. Like they do that fake, typical bullshit. Like they reach for. It's like, can you stop? Stop.
I like the reach
You would
though.
be mad if she didn't reach.
I like the reach
Yeah.
because
No,
that
because
indicates
the thing
humility.
is- the thing is, I'll be honest. Like every time I ask a girl out on a date, I already expect like I'm gonna pay for the meal. I asked you out.
Right.
Whatever it's tradition, whatever the fuck it's called. But it's like, I always felt like if I'm asking you out to dinner, as a woman, I'm going to pay for the meal.
I mean, you're on the same page here with, I think we're all on the same
Right.
page here. If I ask you out, even if I don't ask you, even if we're out, like I'm paying for you.
Right.
Like, cause it's not like it's not a power play or anything like that. It's a gesture of goodwill. Like I asked you out, I want to take, regardless of what happens with us in the future, I want to treat you
Right.
to this meal.
Yeah.
I want to treat you to this meal. It's not you owe me. It's not a power play.
Right.
It's anything like, it's coming from a very genuine place.
Right. And I think it's like with shit, a lot of girls will pay because they think like, oh, now he's expecting that he owes me.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't expect you to do shit. I'm
Well,
just
it's
doing
also
this
the
'cause
energy
that's
that
what I
you're.
do.
It's all the energy that you're giving out on the date. It's
Right.
like, you know what I mean. You're having a chemistry. Even if you're not having a chemistry, it's like you're not putting forth the energy. Like if I do this, then you need to do that. It's
Right.
like you don't want to have. That's an ugly energy to me.
Oh, it's terrible.
I don't like it. I don't like a transactional energy. It's like I'm a strong, confident, loving person, and I would like you to be the same.
Right.
And as a gesture of that goodwill, I'm going to take care of our dinner tonight. So we
Right.
don't even have to worry about it. Let's get it off the table. And plus it makes her feel good. It makes
Yeah.
her feel valued that this guy is like, oh, taking care of something.
Right.
You know?
And that's exactly, and again, that reaches into years and years of human biology and all this stuff that if the guy's taking care of them, she feels taken care of. She feels
Yes.
protected and courted and all that shit. They still like that, whether they say like, I don't want to pay, I don't want him to pay for the meal because he expects blah, 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 blah. But it's like, yeah, I still love when that happens.
Do you think that if you pay for a meal and she's accepting of it, that her body immediately starts ovulating?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
I think so. It
I think
definitely
it could
adds
be
to
too.
stuff. It definitely
it
does.
could
yeah.
add. You know what I mean? She
It
starts
definitely does.
ovulating, and then if things do get
Pheromones come out of her armpits.
pheromones,
Yeah.
which is a word our fans are unfamiliar with. Pheromones. So if her body starts reacting, and then as they become ovulating, obviously their sex drive, they're hornier, and then you have sex, and then you have a baby.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, how did mom and dad start? How did they have me?
Right.
Well, it all started when dad paid for the meal.
When he whipped his credit card
That's
out, the
right.
future was sealed.
Exactly. When he paid for that pizza, it was over right there. That was it. He said it was the best pizza
We
I'll
took it
ever
to
have. It was
pizza.
right. Dude, I go-to joint always is like this pizza joint in Greenwich Village. Still cooking with the coal oven pizza. You never have anything
That's
like it.
against the law now, Doug.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
against
not
the
in
law.
Greenwich Village. It's in New Orleans. I actually fly them to New Orleans and go on a first date there. That's what I meant.
What's the pizza place?
Well, now we can't say it out loud.
can't say it 'cause the
I
full
know,
one-
now
they're gonna
it's
get shut
outlawed,
down.
Son of a bitch.
They're
Thank
gonna
God I
get
didn't
shut
say the
down by
name.
New
I
York.
didn't even think about that.
Wouldn't it be funny if you were going to shut down a coal oven pizza place, and on the way to go shut it down, you were mugged at gunpoint?
Yeah. I hope
It's like
so.
it's like, should we get our priorities in order as
Yeah.
far as what we're
Exactly.
addressing in the city?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those homeless people that aren't roaming the streets because of a coal oven fucking pizza cooker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how about we
Let's
attend to
fucking-
some of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean in terms of like attend to it, like quality mental health care And
Yeah.
then, I mean, healthcare has even now become monetized,
Yeah.
and it's hard to
Oh, that's all
navigate.
money too,
I
man.
mean, that's all money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge business.
Huge.
And now mental health. I mean, that started with Reagan, just like shutting down
Yeah.
like the mental health, and it's like now it's just like these guys are on the streets.
Yeah, and they're right in your fucking face every day.
They're right in your face, and I don't think it's like easy to solve because it's like such a multi-dimensional problem.
Well, that's the thing. It's
It's
like
like mental health, drug problems. It's like, do you ever see a person who's destitute on the street, and you look at them and you go, I wonder, it would be so. I wonder what they were like. Everybody was a baby at one time.
That's true.
So what were they like as a baby,
Mhm.
and what were they like as a toddler and a child? It's like, where did they come from? And if you think about that, you think about sometimes how what brutal lives people have had.
Right.
In order to put them in that place where they're destitute on the street, it's like rewind it all the way back. It's like, what must have happened to that person to put them in that position?
Right. It's like you go through, like, God knows what the fuck some, like, people go through their
Yeah.
trials and tribulations and all that bullshit that put them in this position to where that this happened. And if, like, remember when, like, Opie and Anthony and Stern used to have the homeless people come up and they would interview them and stuff like that?
I didn't see that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Dude, they would get into some stories where you're like, what the fuck? Like, some that you would hear,
Yeah.
and you're like, I can't believe somebody's parents would do this to him. Like, they had
Yeah.
one homeless guy on where, like, the mother molested the boy. You're like, how the fuck?
It's crazy.
Does that, and, like, and what chance does that poor bastard have?
What chance does the kid have?
Zero.
I worked in a behavioral school with kids who were being taken out of Philadelphia schools because they couldn't function and their parents couldn't handle them or whatever, and they would be living on campus and they would go to this school. It was a program to handle these kids until they were adopted, or it's not adopted, it's foster care.
Right.
It would be foster care because their parents didn't want them, or their parents were abusive and they couldn't function in a public school. And before we would get a kid, the psychologist would come in and read their back stories, where they came from and stuff, and the stories would just make you cry.
Oh, my
And
God.
to your point, it would be like, what chance did this kid have? Like,
Exactly.
what actual chance did they have? They didn't have any chance
Zero.
at all. And it's like, you look at the people in prison, and I was friends with a guy who went to prison, and he said to me, he goes, Mike, he goes, 95% of the people in prison, if you would have had their lives, you would be in prison too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
5% are just like the most vicious, evil people. But 95%, and I'm not saying you should let them go. I mean, whatever. But it's like, but 95%, if you would have had their life,
Yeah.
you would be in prison also.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I had a
you'd always say
falling.
that.
I had a falling out with my father, and we didn't talk for about a year, 8 months, 9 months. And what finally brought us back together was him saying to me, like, we talked, and him saying to me, he's like, if you would have had the life that I had, you would be in jail or in a gutter somewhere on drugs.
Right.
And it's like, he wasn't trying to say that he was better than me. What he was trying to say was, because I expected more from him, and it was basically his way of saying, I'm already playing way above my head.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because of the way I was brought up, and all due respect to my grandfather and compassion to him, but because what he went through was even more brutal. But it's like, he basically was saying, I'm playing above my head here
Right.
already.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that way because maybe I'm not meeting your criteria as a father, and I'm obviously a flawed guy, but, you know, I'm already playing way above my head. I'm doing the best I possibly can do
With what he had.
with what he had.
And it's like you said, that shit is handed down from
Yeah,
generation.
right.
Like, however,
Right.
you know, your grandfather was treated to how he
Right,
treated. And it's
right.
like you said, what did they know? There was
Right.
no therapy back then.
No,
You went to therapy, forget it.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, what? Are
Right.
you weak? Like,
Right,
that's how
right.
it was looked at.
Right, that's how it
So
was
what
looked
were
at.
they supposed
That's
to
how it
do?
was looked at. Forget them. It was looked at in my
Oh, yeah,
generation
for
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was going through tough times, like, bite down, get through it. It's like, oh, that's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong. There's a time and place for that, but there's also a time it's like, oh, you have to open up and learn about yourself. In order to do that, you need to be vulnerable and open up.
Yeah.
In order to do that, and people miss that too. They're like, just bite down and be tough. It's like, no. Sometimes you need to be vulnerable and take a look at how you can be hurt, how you were hurt,
Right.
and be able to go in and fix it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
know?
did your father like?
My father was very, very loving.
Yeah.
It was flawed, but he was treated. He was raised very tough by his father, and then with me, he was like, "Oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like to be treated like that. You know, very tough and brutal, and my father, as a result of that, was very loving. Although, you know, still like emotional and quick to anger and quick to praise, but very, very I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the fact that he would kiss me and tell me he loved me and all this stuff, you know. It was like, I talked to my friends who never had that with their fathers, and I'm like, I remember my friend in Philly you know, I was on the phone with him. I get into his truck, and all right, I love you, and then bye. He goes, who was that? I go, that was my dad. He goes, I would never say I love you to my dad. I go, let me tell you something, buddy. Start doing it. Life is short. Life is short. I don't care if it's weird. I don't care if it's awkward. I don't care if he's not that kind of guy. Whatever. Have an honest conversation with him and tell him your life is too short for that. You gotta be emotional, and and my father really set the tone for that. And he did a lot of other great things, other great lessons that I took with me in life. But the whole point of being a human being is like taking the things that benefited you and were good in your childhood and building on them, and then taking the things that weren't good and like correcting them. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And that's great that you had that with him. And also it had to be hard for you to like must have be like, I love you, Dad, or have this long, especially after a fallout. Like that had to be hard to finally have a heart-to-heart conversation with him. Like that had to be tough to do. Right. You want to talk about gut-wrenching, like that has to be one of the most gut-wrenching things to do, is to talk to your fucking dad about emotions, and telling him that you love. Like that's got to be rough. Yes. Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't that rough because of the nature of our relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was. He hurt me, and then we were trying to bring it back together. And I wanted him to apologize for what he did. I think he was out of pocket. And instead of doing that, you know, he basically told me that thing that I just said, which is like, if the way my life played out, if you would have had my life, like I'm already doing the best that I can. Right. So that was enough for me. That was enough for me. It's enough for me to accept it, to see his point. Yeah, to see his point. Everybody's looking at things from a different perspective. To see his point and go, okay, I still didn't agree with what he did. I still thought it was wrong. I still thought he should have apologized. But in the absence of that, what he was trying to say was, this is the best I can do. Right. With what I have. With what I have, and I still love you. Right. So that was good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean that's what they were dealing with, and for you to like actually talk to him, and did he ever apologize?
He never apologized for it, but he did say, you know, we went through it. He goes, that's never going to happen again. Yeah. That's never going to happen again.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Yeah.
So he's not...
He's not fully surrendered.
He's not fully surrendered.
I was wrong, but that won't happen.
Because he's like, you know, with Italians especially, it's like a big thing. Respect your father. Respect, you know, all this stuff that you know what I mean. So, but you know, I just think the fact that that's how a negative can turn into a positive. The way he was raised, like he hated it in such a way, and it was in his mind, he was like, this is so unnecessary. Right. That he went in and made the adjustment with his own kids, right? Which is to be emotional, which is to tell them you love them, which is to spend time with them and like value them as people and all this stuff, you know. So he did make the adjustment that way. What about your dad?
Like none of that. Like,
and what about your mom? How did your mom play into it?
My mother was a tough bitch too. She was always like she would hit us too, as typical Italian wooden spoon, all that bullshit. But you know, she was nurturing. She was my mother's great, very nurturing and all that. But she was also tough too. Right. It's like, yeah, I'll nurture you because I'm your mother, but at the same time, don't be a little bitch. Yeah. Like if something where I was like upset about stuff, she's like, all right, look, I understand you're upset, but come on, you got to suck this up. It's not the end of the world. You lost a shoe. Like, I understand it's upset. You'll find it, whatever, get another one. Doesn't matter. Just calm the fuck down a little bit. Yeah. So you had that like balance with her and everything. But she one thing, she always like made an excuse for my dad when he would get pissed off or something sometimes. She'd always be like, oh, you know how your father is. Right. All right. That's just the way he's not gonna blah blah blah. Never like and again, I'm not saying I had the worst child. I don't want it to make it out like I'm some victim or some bullshit like that. But it was like you know, that's how he is. And then as my dad got older, then he started being more like, Like we'll say I love you to each other, but it's like love you. All right. And,
Right.
and even on the phone, like it's like who's gonna say it first here?
Right.
Nah, I'm not gonna. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not you.
Yeah.
All right, love you. Bye. And hang up the fucking
Right.
phone real fast. So
Right.
that's still like a tough thing to do. But my mother was another tough. Her upbringing. Oof. Oh, Jesus Christ. How she didn't become a stripper or a hooker addicted to drugs, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Where I would say it was probably worse than my father with the parents.
Oh, my
that she had.
God.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
How my mother's parents treated her. I don't know how she does it. But God
The
bless
bad
her.
part of the good part of today's, a lot of people complain about the way things are today, about how, how society and just general society has been kind of superficial and trashy. But the good part of it is that there's all this information out there and all this openness and things are being openly talked about.
Right.
And if something is a problem, it's like you look at it and you try to figure it out. Like in the past, there wasn't that. It was just bad on top of bad on top of bad a lot of times, where it was like if something was a bad character, you would just take it out on the next person.
Of course.
Instead of now, it's like kind of more open. Not kind of. It is more open where you can have a dialogue about it and you could talk about it and you can, figure out that you're in a pattern.
Right.
And that it needs to stop, that it's not good, it's not helping anybody, and it's actually hurting
Right.
people that you love. That's actually being taught. So that's one of the good aspects of the times that we're living in. There's so many bad aspects
Right.
of it where it's like everybody's distracted, everybody's on their, no one's has an attention. It's all types of like.
Well, that's the bad
issues.
aspect, right? Of being
It's
a
the bad
parent.
aspect,
Yeah.
but the good aspect is it's like, oh, maybe some of these patterns will stop because people will be more introspective and there's the information out there and there's help and people will be able to look at themselves.
You would think that, right? But then they're still making bad parents with fucked up kids, especially like you said. All the like you have these parents, and I've seen it with some of my friends that have kids, that the mothers and the still want the attention. Like your mother and father. Once they had kids, it's like my life doesn't matter. It's all about this,
Right.
Which is how it should be. If you're
Right.
having fucking kids, you made that decision,
Right.
But now I hear mothers say like I haven't had. Like I'm not saying that it's not hard, but when you hear like certain parents say like I haven't had a date in my like I just don't even have a life anymore. It's like yeah, you had fucking children. It's not your life anymore.
Right.
It's somebody else's.
Right.
So I think that's how all this information is making parents like bad parents is because there's too much out there now.
Right.
You see, you had kids, right? Let's say you had kids, but then your friends over here didn't. And they're still going to Europe, and they're still going rock climbing, and they're still cliff jumping. They're doing all, and you're like, well, I'm here with my fucking kids.
Right.
This sucks. I want to do that.
Right.
I need a day to myself. It's like, you won't get a day to yourself for another 7 years.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Right.
You've given your life up to have children.
In defense of parents today, because I'm critical also,
Right.
and I don't have kids, but I did teach. But in today's day and age, I would have to say, because it didn't. I don't know if my parents just did it more effortlessly or they had just more control or whatever, but they had 3 kids 2 years apart. They were struggling with life, but not because of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But today, I just think that with the economy and in the world, it's like when you're working a job now, it's like your employer can get in touch with you 24 hours a day.
Sucks.
Cell phone, emails, and you're expected to respond to those things. So
Right.
back when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s or whatever, it was like when you went home from work, you were home.
Right. It was
Like
over.
it was over. There's no, I mean, maybe they can call you or maybe you had to take work
And
home
you
with
knew
you
not to
sometimes.
answer the phone. My father would always say, don't answer the phone. It might be work.
Yeah.
If you
And it's
answer,
like-
say I'm not here.
But you had that time and you
Right.
had those parameters. Now there's no parameters. Employers can call you in and tell you. So it's very hard to, I would think, strike that balance. I think it's much harder to be a parent now.
Yeah.
And and plus the outside world that you're dealing with. I mean, there's tons of, just porn on your phone.
Yeah.
It's like there's tons of stuff out there that's just easily accessible and not good.
Right.
So it's like you have to defend against all of that, and then you have less time to do it.
Right. It almost makes you feel like China has a point with their TikTok and banning certain shit to keep a strict rule. But again, and I
Well, with
understand
Chinese
that's
Americans
progressive.
and immigrants from other cultures also, it's like they come over here with
Immigrant
like a different mentality
yeah.
than we have as Americans.
Free society.
Yeah, which is like, hey, discipline matters. You're going to go to school. You're going to get good grades. You're going to play an instrument. You're going to play a sport. Like, you're expected. All of these things are expected. And obviously there's a balance. It's like if you're overbearing, it's like, again, you could break a kid that way if you're just overbearing. And but if I think there's a happy medium there where it's like you can instill discipline, but you could do it in a very loving, compassionate way.
Right. And of course there is, like, but it's to talk and reason with your kid and teach them that reason when they're very young. You don't know reasoning. That's why you inherited bad traits from your parents, because you're like, oh, he gets angry, so I'm going to get angry. He hits me, I'm going to hit somebody who pissed me off because I don't understand what's really going on here. You don't understand.
Right.
So that's probably, like you said, best thing to do is to, put discipline inside of a kid, but do it in a logical way, because kids aren't as retarded as you think they are.
Yeah.
They could understand logic. They know logic. Especially if you explain it on their level, they're going to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you don't need to hit them anymore.
I don't think you need to hit them.
No.
I don't think you need to either. I think that there's a way if you're actively parenting them.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll,
Right.
you're connecting with them and there's love there.
Well, that's the thing.
When you
ever
say
see
something, it'll be respected.
Right.
There's no need to go overboard.
You ever see, like, a kid, like, if you were hit as a kid, you ever see, like, how tiny they are, and you're like, how the fuck can an adult ever hit this
it's
little
brutal.
thing here?
It's brutal.
It's
brutal. You
fucking
can get
rough,
the
man.
same message. You can get result. You can get discipline in a better way. You can get a better outcome without doing that. Yeah. All right. Shannon, do we have to be out of here?
No, we are at 105, but we don't have.
We are at
anything.
105. How about we do 3 quick stories?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yep.
Doug, this has gone a great direction.
Yeah, I
very
loved it, man. This
authentic
is great.
conversation. We really connected with a lot of our fans out there. So are you ready to do some investigations?
Sure.
Okay. Because we've investigated each other and our backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to investigate some news stories. The first one, Irina Shayk dating Tom Brady. Spent the night together. He caresses her face. Shannon, what's the story?
Ooh.
I thought you might be excited to hear about this,
I
Mike.
am very. I read about it in the paper.
So this is the picture that they're talking about here. He is caressing her face.
Okay, so I didn't know her, but she's like a model and
jeez.
dated Messi, right?
I don't know about but her most recent boyfriend was Bradley Cooper.
Oh, okay, Bradley
Or
Cooper.
boyfriend, husband, something like that. They were
But she has a
just recently
baby with
together.
Bradley Cooper.
I don't know. I'll check right
They
after.
have a baby.
Goddamn.
And here they are. So it said, like, throughout this day that, like, he dropped her off at her hotel, then picked her back up. They went back to his place. They spent a lot of time together. Her people aren't confirming their relationship yet, but it seems like they're together.
But you're not going to caress somebody's face if you're not having a at least in some kind of an intimate relationship with them, are you?
What if she had, like, an eyelash? He's like, oh, let me just get the...
Let
Yeah,
me
but
get
still,
that for you.
that's like intimate too.
That's
like, I
pretty
wouldn't just
intimate to
do
get
that
somebody's
a coworker.
eyelash.
Or do that to somebody I don't know. Like, let me get that.
Shannon,
for
if
you.
one of us was to take an eyelash off your face
Exactly right.
gently,
Yeah.
I feel like I would flinch away from it.
Oh,
I'd be like, why are you
Jesus.
coming at my face?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
shit, don't hit me.
why are you
That is
coming
true.
at my
like
face?
if Shannon had like sauce on her lip, and you're like, let me just get that for you.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? What are you
Yeah.
doing? Yeah, you would. There would have to be some intimacy there.
How about, this is my idea,
Yeah.
and it's off of this news story, has nothing to do with it, but how about an OnlyFans like that, where there's
Wow.
sauce on your lip, and then I'm taking it off.
Ooh,
That's
gotta
a
be a
clip.
fetish somewhere.
That's a
right?
clip.
That's gotta be somewhere.
Eyelash, I'm
Yeah.
taking it off. I'm doing these gentle caressings.
What would you call it though? There's got to be a category to fit that
Yeah.
under. Like plushing is when you squish food in between your body. Furries is
you gotta
like that's
think of
got to
a
be
name.
called something. Removing,
Hardcore caressing.
caressing with purpose,
Totally hardcore caressing.
naked.
Wow, so do you think they have a future, Shannon?
Okay.
She's not even confirming it. That would hurt my feelings if I was Tom Brady.
No, okay,
It
but...
sounds like she's trying to blitz the relationship.
Oh, wait, I don't have it. Hold on.
Wow. We've had such an intimate, authentic conversation with Doug here. We haven't had any air horns.
No. So here's one thing. According to TMZ, which who knows if it's
That's
true
the
or not.
news.
Yeah, it is. That he was out and about, I think in a club, and there were several models all together throwing themselves at Tom Brady.
Right.
Her included. She was one of them that was
Okay.
just throwing
Jesus
herself at him.
Christ.
It was after that report that her people were like, this is a crazy lie. This is absolutely not true. So it's understandable she doesn't want to be seen as like this thirsty model.
Yeah, but I mean,
Even if she was.
if
who
I was
cares?
Tom Brady, and imagine having Tom Brady's problems,
Yeah.
which is like models are throwing themselves
Yeah.
at you.
Oh, that's such a rough life, man. These
Defenses would
goddamn
always
models,
plan.
man.
Defenses would plan to stop Tom Brady,
Yeah.
and now it's just like he's retired, and now models are
throwing-
creating defenses in order to throw them.
That's her?
That's her.
Mother.
Wow.
Fucking. Remember everybody said Tom Brady was going to suffer after he divorced whatever the fuck her name is there?
It does
Giselle?
not look like he's suffering, Doug.
He's
I'll
not,
be really
no.
honest with you. It does not look like he's suffering that much.
Yeah, but you know what, Mike? It's got to be hard when you have to pick a model. You know, you don't want to hurt feelings. That must weigh on you emotionally when you have to be forced to pick which 10 you want to take. So I imagine it must be rough. It's got to be. Motherfucker.
He's retired, and models are scheming.
Oh, he's not retired anymore. He's back. He went back.
No.
Yeah.
What?
It says didn't he unretire
I didn't
at
hear
the
that.
end of the divorce?
No, he retired again.
Yeah.
Shannon, you're in the last news cycle of the last
Yeah,
millennium.
he retired, he went back, and then he retired again.
Yeah, he retired
Right?
again. He's
Yeah.
done now.
Okay.
Unless the headlines are today that he, I did
No.
not look at the paper yet,
Then I'm
but
wrong.
he came back.
Because it said in the article that he has so many years left of playing ball still.
I think they meant, you know,
Playing
frolicking
ball
with
like playing the
women.
field.
Yeah.
So also it says that Giselle Bundchen was unhappy.
She was
about
unhappy that
this.
her former husband is sleeping with another model
Yes, but there has been pictures
Poor
of her
girl.
ever since the divorce of her like boyfriend or new boyfriend.
with her jiu-jitsu instructor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
So-
right.
Yeah. So she's not happy about this.
She was gallivanting with whoever. Of course, you're Tom Brady, many Super Bowl rings. You're
Yeah.
gonna be able to sleep with that. One Super Bowl ring gives you access to models. Now you got 7.
But it
That's-
sounds like Giselle wants to tap out of her relationship with her
Ah.
jiu-jitsu master and go back with Tom Brady, and Tom ain't having it. Maybe Tom isn't having it. Do you think
wait.
that? And he's moved on to another model.
Yeah,
But I actually do like Giselle a lot.
I do too. But I like Tom Brady more.
I like Tom Brady
Yeah.
a lot too.
Dominant dude. Could pick any woman he wants. Like
I just love it.
that's
I'm
every
not
guy's
even
dream.
It's a dream, but he's like made himself the most successful, eligible. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
maybe Giselle, instead of she filed for divorce, and that now she's off with a jiu-jitsu instructor in Brazil, like horseback riding and all that stuff. So that's over. And then once that little fantasy is over, maybe she wants to get back with Tom. So is there a way to file for divorce and then you're divorced and then refile for marriage? I'd rather if you file
Yeah.
for marriage. That would be better.
That would be good. Or if you had a marriage like that.
File
old
for marriage,
contract,
propose divorce. Would
Yeah.
that be better?
That would be good. That's why you sign prenups.
Yes.
Because you want to make sure, like, hey, I got my ass covered here. So that's why you just sign this here, because divorce is pretty much inevitable at this point.
She actually has more money than him, though.
That is true. That's
Yeah.
a great point. She really does. I
does.
didn't believe that until I looked that up one time and
Yeah.
saw her net worth compared to his.
She's unreal.
Wow.
She's unreal, and she didn't get any. She doesn't have any surgery done. Like so many
Nothing?
women, so
None of
many
the
models
squirt
and
in the
stuff get
face
all.
there?
I don't think so. I think she just like lives a holistic life.
Do we have a picture of her face? Like she doesn't have any lip injections.
think
nothing
so.
to
I think
cure the
she's just-
wrinkles on her head.
But I think she lives it like which. Yeah, she's.
Yeah,
very,
that's
I
something.
mean, she's very pretty.
that
she's
come
beautiful.
on, that's got to be a little cheek implants there. One of
Come
them
on, Doug.
fillers.
Why do you always have to? Why are
It's
you
gotta
always
be.
looking for a negative?
There's got to.
She's
She looks
very
like
pretty.
she almost looks like the Saw doll with those giant cheeks.
Well, I'm
Look at
sure
her.
that's Instagram or that's filters. You know, I'm sure that's filters and makeup, but she
Mm.
looks authentically very pretty.
Don't get me wrong, she's still hot. Just saying, there's something a little touched up there.
Best of luck to Tom and Arena, and I'm just so sorry of Tom having to get attacked by models at a
Yeah,
nightclub.
I know, poor
That's gotta
guy,
be
man.
difficult for him.
That's rough. Can't imagine the struggle. That's a hard one to do.
Next one, moms lifting newborns out of their wombs during C-sections in new trend. Now, Shannon, this hits home because you know I'm a cesarean baby.
I know that.
And as a cesarean baby, there's a whole thing about circumcision now. Is it good? Is it not good? And I'll just say it right now for the fans in all candidness that I was born cesarean and circumcised. And at the same
Attaboy.
time, it was one swipe of the knife where the doctor cesarean my mother, circumcised me, and also Prince Albert. So it's the hat trick. It's the hat trick of being a doctor, an obstetrician, or whatever those guys are.
That's a very precise doctor.
It was a precise doctor in one. You're basically a samurai at that point. Cesarean, what's it called? What's the circumcision?
Right.
Cesarean. Thanks for helping me, guys.
Yeah.
Cesarean, circumcision, and Prince
fuck
Albert
else
all
is
in
it?
one swipe.
Dude, that's like having Zorro as your doctor. Just went, right
You are
there.
a master.
God
I
damn.
just you're retired after doing that.
Yeah, after that. And the thing is that you'd be known in the medical community as doing the circumcision and the C-section at the same time.
I
That's
mean, you would get
talent.
a star on the Walk of Fame at the emergency room.
You
They
would.
should have a Walk of Fame
Yeah.
of all the great doctors.
He hangs up those foreskins he cuts off as trophies. He's like, you see that? One shot each
Foreskin.
time.
Foreskin and has them stuffed and put on his wall.
Exactly.
Maybe. Shannon, what's the story?
Okay, so they're calling this a maternal assisted cesarean, MAC. And what they were saying is that women were complaining that with a C-section, there wasn't as much bonding during the birth as with a natural birth. Because then they have to like cut the cord, take the baby away, clean it up, and then give it to the mother for the skin-to-skin contact. So with this way, and here's like a picture of it happening.
Oh, Jesus fucking
So
Christ.
now, as they're like, she's lifting the baby, like basically like right out of her stomach and bringing it to her. So
All
there's
right.
immediate.
I like the other way better.
I do
I like
too.
it better when you're cleaned off and you
Yeah.
make it like the doctor takes you to another room, cleans you up, and then brings you back.
You're
I
not
don't
sup-
know that initial bonding is that necessary.
It's not.
That
She's
looks
still
like-
wearing rubber gloves. What
I mean,
bonding?
come-
You need
yeah,
skin to
I mean-
skin. This is all bullshit.
Rubber gloves sends a bad message
It
to the
does,
baby.
yeah.
It's like I don't
Am
want
I dirty, Mom?
Yeah, I
You
don't
wanna
trust
hold
you.
me?
The
What
purpose
fuck?
of that is that she doesn't contaminate the open wound on her stomach.
Yeah, but that's why you're also not supposed to lift the human out of your own guts.
But that's what I was thinking is that like, so your muscle is cut. So like, where is your strength coming from? Like, you're going to have to tense your midsection to like lift this baby towards you.
A lot of upright rows.
That's
Right
what
that back.
Crazy.
I think what you're talking about is planking.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you blaming the mother for not planking enough, Shannon?
Even if she planked enough, her muscle's sliced.
Oh,
You know, like where is that strength coming
Yeah.
Her
from?
deltoids, most likely. This lady looks like she has a thick neck. Look at it. See that? She's got a neck like Ronnie
I look like
Coleman.
I thought she had earbuds
I
in.
thought that too.
What is
she
that?
was listening. She was probably
Those aren't earbuds?
She was probably listening to the baby.
She's listening to Pantera to give her motivation as she lifts this thing out of her guts.
Oh my god. But I don't know about the bonding thing. Maybe that's valid. Maybe it's not.
I
But
don't
clean the
think it
baby.
is.
I mean, I was cesarean. They
Yeah.
took me to another room. They got me decent,
Yeah.
and they said, "Look, you're about to meet your mother."
Exactly.
And I like that better.
Wait, but don't they have to clear the lungs? How are they clear? Like, doesn't the doctor whack the baby? Or is that all bullshit? He whacks
this
the
isn't
baby in the ass to make him
This
cry.
isn't an air conditioner.
Oh, all right.
This is actually a baby.
Oh,
Doug, are
okay.
you going back to the air
I
conditioning
am, because
conversation?
that's how I get my air conditioner to work. When it breaks, wham, and then it starts fucking making noise again. That's what I thought they did with infants too.
I love this story though, because as a cesarean, and we are a group in society. Final one. This is the crazy moment a woman peed on the floor of a Spirit Airlines plane. Shannon.
So, it's a weird story. I know you don't want to see the video.
I
but,
kind of do.
I can show you. Here's a screenshot from it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is her on the plane. I believe that the plane was currently refueling,
Yeah.
and that's why they weren't allowed to use the restroom. She claims in the video that it was 2 hours and she couldn't hold it anymore, and so she just pulled her pants down and she peed in the alley.
Wow.
She peed in the where?
The aisle,
In-
you mean?
Yeah, in the aisle. Like
She peed
right
in the
at
aisle.
end, yeah.
Well, at least she didn't pee in the emergency row.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to
because-
get that slippery.
No, because that's a hazard
Yeah.
if people are trying to escape. But she peed in the I mean, I don't know if you have to go. Like, I would try to at least pee in a cup.
Yeah, that's what you would
How
think,
about
right?
that?
A bottle.
A beverage?
What about that barf bag that's in the fucking thing? You could
Yeah, that does hold liquid.
Yeah, you could pop that
Yeah.
squat right there and
Right.
just
Do you think that's true though, that the airline wouldn't let her? Because Spirit Airline is
What is the
a
toilet?
Frontier.
Frontier?
It's Frontier?
Oh,
No, which
Frontier's
is
a
worse,
hellhole,
right?
isn't it?
Is that worse? than
Yeah,
Spirit?
Frontier's a shithole.
Frontier is not good.
Yeah, it's like a paper airplane. It's not
It's
good.
barely a
Yeah.
plane.
It's garbage. Those planes are from 1957. They still
Yeah,
have
but-
ashtrays in the seat.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Frontier.
Why not piss
Isn't that
there?
normal for Frontier just to go to the bathroom?
It actually classed up the flight a little bit.
That's
Added
it.
to the smell.
It's just if you
Like
just
fresh
go to the
popcorn.
bathroom on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it have been cool if one of the flight attendants, if she was like, look, it's an emergency, and if they can't use the restrooms, like do something to help her, like give her some sort of receptacle to
But I'm
pee
sure it
into?
wasn't. I'm sure there was some back and forth where it's like, I gotta go. I'm sure it wasn't like, Miss, please, I have to go, and then them being like, no. It's like, Miss, I don't know what to like. You know what I mean? I'm sure there was some animosity there going back and forth. Probably. Usually on the airlines, people get pretty antsy with each
Yeah.
other, and they're like, I'm doing this, and the other person's like, no, you're not. It becomes like a thing with yes, I am, no, I'm not. It becomes an authoritarian struggle versus Miss, I can't hold it anymore.
It does say that some of the quotes from the video was, the plane stopped, I can't hold my pee, the woman said, and then a crew member said, blame yourself. She said, you can do whatever, the peer said, you can do whatever you want, you can send a warrant, arresting me is better than this, and then she peed. And then the flight attendant said, advised her to drink more water because her pee smells disgusting.
Okay.
Oh, God.
It's like insult to injury.
Jeez.
I'm almost siding with the person who peed at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's like it sounds like she is just genuinely
Yeah.
asking and not being like, it's like, I can't hold it. You're going to have to do whatever. Like, I know the result of this is not going to be good. You're going to call the cops, and then the cops will call TMC.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a whole story. And it's going to be kind of embarrassing, but it's like, do you understand? I don't have a choice. And then if they're just like, no, I'm sorry, it's rules of the rule. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, dude, like, it's my bladder doesn't understand the rules. And this is me talking because I have to go to the bathroom right
I
now.
also do.
And she
It's-
didn't
I
look
also
like the
do
most
too.
healthiest person, let's be honest. So it's going to
I
be hard
couldn't
to hold that fucking diabetic piss.
Well, I mean, I have to, this is from someone who has to go to the bathroom a lot on
Yeah.
planes. So I kind of sympathize with her.
But why can't you use the bathroom while they're fueling? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't
You
understand
can't
that
piss
either.
in
That
the
sounds like a made up excuse
Yeah.
for you not to use the bathroom.
It does say in the article also that this isn't the first time that this happened. In 2018, a passenger aboard the appropriately named Wizz Air. That's not a thing.
That's not a thing, and that ruined
They
my
went out of
joke of her
business.
going to the Wizz Air is funny if you pee in the aisle on Wizz Air,
Yeah.
and for obvious reasons. But I thought it ruined my joke of her peeing, the first one to pee on a Frontier airline, which is
Yeah.
like she's the frontier of urinating.
Yeah.
And so in this 2018 thing with Wizz Air, it says the same thing. The woman relieved herself in the food galley area after being told she couldn't use the lavatory while the plane was being refueled.
Why not? What does that have to do? What does gasoline have to do with you pissing in a toilet? I don't understand.
it.
I don't understand.
It doesn't
either.
use gas for you to flush the bowl.
I don't understand it either.
Maybe an explosion.
But I'm not.
Mm.
My one of my cousins is my cousin's husband is an airplane mechanic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have to deal with cleaning up piss?
I don't know how the urine going to the bathroom affects fueling, but I
Yeah.
guess I could ask him.
I would love to know the answer.
I would
to
love
that
to know that,
question.
too.
I've never heard of that ever.
I wonder if it's like pieces of concrete falling into an air
It
conditioner.
might be that. It might be pieces of concrete falling into the toilet.
Pieces of concrete falling into
Scare
an
the
air
shit out of you. And you hear
Yeah.
cling, 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 cling.
I don't know,
Be
Shannon,
upset.
anything on it before I have to actually go to the bathroom in the studio, which would be a clip?
No, I don't. I don't see an answer. I
You
believe.
pull her pants
at this
down.
time.
Either, you see that?
Okay. So, an unanswered question to the investigation. Well, those are three news stories. Tom Brady, cesareans, and urinating in the aisle of an airline. I mean, this is what you guys are paying for with your Gas Digital subscription.
Do you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, let's do plugs. Guys, I am in, this is coming out on Thursday. So Tempe, Arizona. Shannon, can you bring up my dates? At the Tempe Improv, July 28th, 29th, Tempe, Arizona. Please come out if you're in Arizona. It's very hot. The club is air conditioned. That should be a selling point enough. We were looking at the temperatures in Arizona. It's 115 degrees. July 28th, 29th, this weekend. Mount Airy, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland, August 11th and 12th. Baltimore, the Port Comedy Club. I think it's a new club. Please come out. Baltimore, August 11th and 12th. And Indianapolis, August 17th through 19th. I'll be with Katie Hannigan, where Katie is from and where sliced bread was invented, Shannon.
Is that true?
Yeah, sliced bread invented in Indianapolis. So August 17th through 19th, Helium Comedy Club. Please come out. Those 3 dates. Tempe, Baltimore, Indianapolis. See your boy. At Comic Mike V on all platforms. Watch the special, The Attractives. And thank you. I love you. Doug, what do you got?
Follow me on Instagram at the Doug Uram on Instagram. And then I will be in Poughkeepsie in some place that I'm not even really sure where it is on, when does this come out?
Thursday.
I'll be there actually this Saturday, so come out. You'll see it on my Instagram. I'll be at the Grizzly Pear this Thursday at midnight, so come out through there, which actually last week, the Gas Digital fucking people came out to see me, and I'm not used to that bullshit, so I was like, hey, yeah, right. Awesome. It was fucking nuts. I'm at the Grizzly Pear every Thursday. Come see me there. I'm there every midnight and every Monday, too. I'll be there. And just follow me on Instagram. I post a bunch of I'm not good at these plug-in bullshit. So just follow me there. You'll see me post the flyers up there.
Doug, guys. Shannon.
You can follow me on Instagram at ShannonLee6982. Listen to my podcast, The Thing Is Ding. We talk about bad dates, fighting, and ghosts. And Doug will also be on the show this week, so check it out. Wherever you listen to Mike Vecchione Investigates, you can also watch it live for free every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern at gasdigital.com/live. That's absolutely free. The best way to support the show. And this is a special promo code just for the month of August. Use promo code MVI3030 and you'll get a full month free of everything Gas Digital. Every single Mike Vecchione Investigates, every single show of everything on the Gas Digital Network. So MVI30, use that for the month of August. If you listen on iTunes or YouTube, make sure to rate, review, tell a friend, leave a comment, subscribe. Every little bit of interaction helps the show to grow. And email us your questions, comments, or video investigations at MikeVecchioneInvestigates@gmail.com. That's it.
All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being on the YouTube premiere. Our numbers are climbing. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment. Helps the algorithm. We want to be bigger than we are, and we're expanding, and we appreciate you guys and love you. That's it for me. For Doug, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Thank you for having me,
Great
man.
conversation.
This was so much fun.
Really good conversation.
You,
and for Shannon, I'm Mike Vecchione. We'll see you guys next week. Great, buddy. Really good. Dude. Guys, thank you for listening to Mike Vecchione Investigates. And if you go to gasdigitalnetwork.com and use promo code MBI, you will get 1 week free. That's gasdigitalnetwork.com, promo code MBI, you will get 1 week free. Thank you again for listening to Mike Vecchione Investigates on the Gas Digital Network.